All right, Miharatis. So I've got my setup file. And just so everybody's clear on what I'm doing, whoops, sorry. I've got the leg traced out. I'm going to show you, we're going to do the freeform gradient tool first. And I was asked a question in class about which one of these I like better. And I think I gave a bad answer. I think the answer is whichever one of these works for you, works for you. So we'll do the freeform gradient first. So here's my setup. You can see I have two right legs. That's because I'm about to do a demo on the other tool. But I'll work in right leg copy. Everything else goes away. I've got my template. And in class, I showed you something. If you go into your settings and you go into, hang on a second, I'm going to do Command K, which is the keyboard shortcut command. If you go into general settings, change your keyboard increment to 1 inch. All right, 1 space IN. I'll show you why in a second. This is the template layer. If I click on Tinkerbell and I hit my my left arrow 1 click. So what I've done now, and I'm going to lock this back down again. So what I've done now is I have my path and I have my Tinkerbell. So I'm going to go out of keyline mode. I'm in preview mode now. And I double clicked on this layer and I'm going to change this to black so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to go get my gradient tool. All right. Now the reason I moved Tinkerbell over is because I'm going to keep referencing parts of her leg. And the reason I moved her over exactly 1 inch using my my arrow tools is because when I'm done, I'm going to want to put her back so I can trace out all the other elements. Using the keyboard commands this way allows for some real pinpoint care and dexterity when I do this. All right. Hang on a second. Okay, sorry. I just filled that with green. I wasn't in preview mode. Sorry. So I'm in preview mode. I'm going to go into the freeform gradient tool. Now, when you do this, it fills with the color you last used. This is why I have this cream, because I did a demo of this before I started. So I'm going to use lines. You can use points, but I think lines are a better choice. And what I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do is these outside edges. Now, if you don't want it in class, excuse me, I did a path all the way around. You don't have to do that. Watch. So I'm going to bring this down, and every time I click, I get a point. It's like the pen tool and unlike the pen tool in some ways. All right, so I'm just going to follow this around. And I just want as many points as I can get because I'm going to use those to... It's not like I'm doing all the light stuff or all the dark stuff. You can change from point to point. You just want those points. Watch, I lost the thread, so I'll reconnect these. You just want the points in there so that you can start assigning colors to them. So I'm going to do that. All right. Now that I've got that, so you can see this point is highlighted. I can add more points. I can take away more points by using the little garbage pail. So you can go in and get as many or as few as you need. And if it turns out later you need more, you can add them. But now I'm going to get this. You're not using this eyedropper tool. You're using this eyedropper tool. So let's go all the way around. Now this part of her thigh is under her leg, so I'll sample the closest area. Again, this part you can see is under her leg, but again, I'll sample the closest area. Same thing here. Same thing here. Now I'm starting to get into kind of the live area. So I'm going to try and get as close as I can get to kind of the analog on her leg. And I'm moving super fast because I don't want this video to be half an hour long. So I'm just going to work my way around. This is when you want to put on your trance music or your MIDI music and just kind of zone out and just keep going. You're just roughing in these big surface areas. All right, so I'm going to get the back of her leg. I'm going to get the back of her leg. I'm going to keep going up. Right. Okay. So I've roughed in the outline. I go to points and then I come back to lines to reset the tool. There's probably a better way to do it, but this is how I do it. So now I'm going to do the next part. And again, I'm going to add or subtract these points. I kind of want to follow the contour of her leg though. All right. Click on this, keep clicking. Let me come down here. I'm moving way too fast, but I don't want this video to be an hour long. Now I close the path. You don't have to close the gradient, the freeform mesh tool lines, but I did. It just kind of happened. Sometimes the tools kind of jump. And so this time, again, here I am. I'm just kind of moving across, finding the various analog points and filling them in as I go. This is when you want your trance music on. You just kind of get lost in the contours of it. All right. So well, let's take a look. That's not bad. That's not bad. I think maybe I'm a little too generous with the shadow over here. So I'll click on this and say edit the gradient. Maybe, maybe I'll come in and do that. I don't think that I quite, I think I need more information. And so if I need more information, I'm going to put in more clicks. Now the other thing I can do, if I go back from points to lines, as I said, you don't have to work with closed paths. I can see some kind of highlights happening here and here and here, so I'm going to put those in. So here's this one. Oops, sorry, I was in the wrong. I had this silly thing in reverse. So let me just go in and try and pick up those contours. Just stick close to the original model. All right? Now, as I said, I'm going to click on her and put her back and lock this down again. And now I'll draw something else. I'll hide that one and I'll draw this one. Things like this piece right here, I'm not going to try and do that with either the freeform gradient tool or the mesh gradient tool. This stuff will do, and I'll talk more about this on Wednesday. These little grace notes, these pom-poms, all this fiddly stuff, the little detail on her wing, I'm going to draw her nose and blur it out. I'm going to draw her eyes and blur it out. But the big areas, I'm going to trace out. And I'm going to see if one of these two ways of doing this is going to work. And we'll talk on Wednesday about doing stuff like this. And her hair and different things. All right, so that is the freeform gradient tool.